All right. Once again, it's Terrell Wilson with Leaders of Color. I'm excited to be here with our next guest, alum Bianca Moore, Esquire, Leaders of Color Class 2022. Bianca, tell us about yourself and what got you to Leaders of Color.
Okay. Well, thank you, Terrell. I'm super excited to be here. Well, first and foremost, I like to describe myself as a servant leader. I grew up in Virginia by way of Boston. We can talk about that later. My current trade is I'm an attorney / advocate. So I have my own law firm and my consulting business. And how I really learned about Leaders of Color was from my friend tour. I'm gonna trademark that, so don't get crazy, y'all. His name is William C. Snowden. He's actually an LOC alumni, and he's the executive director of Vera Institute New Orleans. And so back in 2021, we were doing like mentorship sessions and things like that. And I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be my next move. I was like a second-year attorney, and I'm very like a futuristic goal-setting person. So we were setting goals, and I was looking for a network of, culturally aware, culturally responsive, and just, very pro-Black type program. And so he said, oh my God, I know the perfect program for you, LLC, Leaders of Color. And so I applied, I got in, and honestly, I haven't been disappointed.
So you got in, right? It's a 3 to 5 month journey, 70 hours. We do a lot of training and teaching in the program, but we want you to build that strong environment of a network, right? So kind of talk to us about that. Tell us about the network and the people that you got to meet and continue to speak with.
Well, the network is fantastic. And honestly, my class personally was jam-packed with individuals from a diverse fields of work and public interest and service. And honestly, it's one of the most diverse fellowships I've ever done. And I've done a couple.
Mhm.
And, you might assume because we all are culturally similar, we're either Black or brown, that it wouldn't be too diverse, but that was not the case. Like no matter like what social or financial issue I may have, I now know somebody who is not only knowledgeable, but very skilled in that field of work. So if I want to advocate for something, or if I want some support or even education, if I got some questions about something, I literally just in my LOC class have someone in each field who I can pull from for collaboration or support. And so like that's by far one of the biggest benefits that I've had from this program.
You're not lying, y'all. I met that class. There's some bomb people in there, some really good people in there. Outside of that, along that journey, what would you say was the most impactful part of the program that you got to enjoy?
Well, I would say for me, it was like the actual in-person aspect of it. Like, we had some sessions that were online, and we had some where we met in person. And I really enjoyed that because we were coming out of COVID. And I don't know if you knew, but a lot of organizations and fellowships and stuff were having a hard time getting people just to come to even general body meetings because
Mhm.
nobody wanted to come. They're like, oh, what, it's not on Zoom? Like, and so I really enjoyed actually like seeing people face to face because I truly believe there is power in presence, right? And so meeting up with people in person and not just through a screen, it does something different. It's kind of like when the pastor says it's different being in the sanctuary versus watching online.
Mhm.
Like, it's like the Holy Spirit can move a little bit more. And I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit that was in them rooms, but like definitely it was something. It was like a spirit of maybe of collaboration, of empowerment. And so yeah, definitely by far that was the most impactful part, to feel everyone's energy and feel everyone's passion. So
Right. And we recently returned to that. Now in Louisiana, it's a little bit harder to attain because it's a whole state. But in person is happening a lot more now that we're over COVID. Um, Looking back as a youth growing up, right? What drew you to want to be a lawyer? And with that thought process, like what are some of the biggest challenges you have being a lawyer?
well, to your first point, like honestly, I was that child who would like, your mama said, because I told you so. I wasn't too crazy, so I never spoke back, but my face said a lot. So I was never that child who just accepted because I told you so. I always wanted to know why. And I'm good. I'm good, thank you. Yeah. I always wanted to know why. Like you know. And so my mom, she kind of started to foster that. She wasn't like the one who like just shut me down immediately. She's like, oh, you're gonna be my little Johnny Cochran. You're gonna be my little Elle Woods, because I love the color pink. And one day I'm gonna wear that pink suit to court. I don't know when, but you know, you're gonna be my little Elle Woods. And so I really leaned into that, and started to pursue that, not knowing actually that my mom was a teen mom. So she had me at a very young age, and she pretty much gave up her entire life for me and my sister, and moved to Virginia from Boston to be with my dad. And so she actually wanted to be a lawyer. And I never knew that, honestly, until I passed the bar and she told me.
Mm.
So I guess I was kind of living her dream. And so it was something drawing me to this. And so I majored in political science in school, went to Loyola for law school, wanting to be an educational attorney, right? I wanted to ameliorate the school to prison pipeline, because I grew up half my life in the, you know, essentially Black and better was I grew up half my life in the hood. And then I grew up the other half in like very white suburbs of Virginia. And so I saw the difference, how like a good educational system could actually give you more opportunities. And so I wanted to figure out how to help other children do that, right? Not realizing that what I was really passionate about is just helping Black people experience humanity. Like I want people who look like me to be treated like human beings and be able to experience all the opportunities that you are afforded as a human. And so that's how I became a criminal defense attorney. And, you know, from there now I'm clerking with a judge, and I intend to actually in 2 weeks, I'm going to be going out on my own in my solo practice, continuing with criminal defense work, continue litigating special education cases, and, you know, doing a little bit of other stuff in my consulting firm. Now to your second question, which is the challenges. You heard all these things I just said in the last, 2 minutes?
Right.
Like having an actual work-life balance and boundaries. For some reason, people think that when they are paying attorneys, they're paying attorneys for their time and not their service. You cannot afford someone's time. You are not paying someone for their time. You are paying them for a service, right? And sometimes we, even as attorneys, have a hard time with letting people know, you are not paying me for my time. Because if it was my time, you'd be paying me thousands of dollars an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You are paying me for a service. And so I am giving you what it takes to do this service, not for my time. And that's especially hard in public interest work or as a criminal defense attorney, because this is someone's life at stake. And in public interest work, it feels like it's someone's life if you're not doing criminal defense, you know, because generally it's their home, it's their family, you
Right.
know. And so sometimes we take that on as attorneys, especially if you're like a servant leader. And so I think that's been the hardest part, like, you know, balancing like attending to my personal needs as a human being, maybe even going to the bathroom, buying groceries, and setting boundaries between Bianca the lawyer, Bianca the attorney, to Bianca the person. So
Right. Okay. You talked about it, starting your own law firm, the BMoore Law Firm. But before that, you were a public defender, now a law clerk, a bond advocacy fellow. Tell us about these experiences.
So I'll start with the what came first. So first came the being a public defender. So being a public defender, of course, I said that came from my desire to, you know, help people experience humanity. So the best way to do that is to actually give them their life back if I can, or decrease the amount of time that they serve for, honestly, what some people is the worst decision they've made in their life, right? You know, they shouldn't, like if it was a juvenile mistake or if it was an accident or whatever, they shouldn't have to go to jail for life. So doing that was actually very draining, and it did not pay me a lot. And so I had to figure out how to supplement my income. I'm not saying I was supposed to do cases outside of being a public defender, but I did because I needed to, right? And so I started to take like family law cases. I started to help people set up their businesses. And then I started my consulting firm where I was helping law students get into law school.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually became what I enjoyed the most, was helping other people who look like me get into law school and stay. Everybody want to help you get in, but they don't say, okay, how do you actually stay? How do you actually excel? And so that's kind of what I build my consulting firm on. And now, I mean, that now translates to my actual law firm too. I mean, I've been asked to be a speaker at various things and to help essentially people with like contracts with their entertainment contracts and things like that, because just randomly I was doing this stuff for extra money, and I end up being good at it. So, it's ironic. And so honestly, what became something to sustain me while I wasn't making enough as a public defender has now transferred to me starting my own firm and my own consulting business. And I love it.
So your own law firm, your own consultant firm, you're a lawyer, but you're also an entrepreneur. So where's the balance? Is there any balance? How are you balancing these mini, for lack of a better term, how are you balancing the mini balls?
First off, a lot of people say there is no such thing as balance when you're an attorney, but like you said, I like to say I'm a socialpreneur because everything I do isn't just strictly business wise. And so a socialpreneur is someone who figure out to serve, to meet a social need or to serve their community while turning a profit. And so everything I do is geared toward helping the community and serving the community, but I'm pulling a profit from it so I can live my life. Because I truly believe when passion meets purpose meets profit, that's when you truly can have some balance in your life. Until that happens, you will not have any balance. I'm trying to get there. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to get there. So I haven't quite figured it out. I'm on that journey. And, I hope to have a better answer for y'all in maybe like a year or two how I'm doing it. But right now I'm balancing half doing my consulting stuff and half doing my law firm stuff. Law firm might come to be a little bit like this when I go on my own necessarily, because I'm going to have to put more time in creating this full-time law firm.
Okay. So maybe there's no balance, but I would imagine that there's some personal time. And even when you do have your personal time, you're committing it to your community, right? So I read your bio. You go ahead and tell us about the long list of things, civic work that you do for the people.
My bio isn't the least favorite thing I like to talk about because it feels like very braggadocious. And like as a Xavier, right? Like part of my mission, like our mission is to assume positions of leadership in like a global society, like, to build a more just and humane society by assuming positions of leadership, right? In a global society. And so like a lot of stuff on my resume naturally came from me just wanting to serve, or I got bored and was like, oh, what's this over there? I'd like to do that. And someone was like, oh, you're good at this. Can you do this? And instead of saying, no, thank you, I don't want to be on the board, I said, yeah, sure, why not? I got time because I don't have any kids and I don't have a husband. So I do have time. Should I feel it with community service? I don't know. Maybe I should just go to a spa. But instead, I've decided to feel it with, because that's what gives me happiness and joy is actually serving. So because I'd probably go to a spa and then tell someone how they can open up a succession for their family members. Because like that, like helping people is what rejuvenates me and like makes me feel good. And so like some of the things that I'm doing, I'm actually really excited about this. I'm president-elect of the Louis St. Martinet Legal Society, the Greater New Orleans. And I'm excited because I'm like the youngest president ever. And it's one of the largest and oldest legal societies in the nation. We fight with some society in Oregon, but I'm gonna let them have it. And also my president emeritus, Norman T. Francis, was one of the founders. And so this means so much to me. And I attribute a lot of my success as an attorney to them. Because when I was struggling, when I didn't know nobody, when I didn't even know a lot of I think I knew one Black attorney, Dr. Norman C. Francis and a guy who I went to church with were the two attorneys I knew before I went to law school. Like Martinet wrapped their arms around me and provided me support. And I don't think there's anywhere else in the United States you will find a minority bar association like this. So the fact that they trusted me to be president, I think is insane. But I'm excited to do that. Some of the other things that I hope that I can partner with Martinet to do is I'm going to be Dillard University's L.E.A.D program. It's their young lawyers program, their mentorship coordinator. So I'm going to be providing them with mentors and things like that to help the young students as they apply to law school. I'm an instructor for the Equity Impact Center Scale Fellowship. That's a new thing they dumped on me. Essentially, I'm helping young artists in Pennsylvania form their LLCs and form their business structures so they actually can have a sound business model, and I'm helping them draft contracts. I'm a mentor for a lot of organizations, and I'm on the board for a couple of organizations such as Southeastern Louisiana Legal Services. I love that. That's like the civil public defenders in Louisiana, and millions of dollars of services they provide to people around in the region. So That's just a little bit of the stuff. It's really like, I mean, yeah, maybe we can talk like individually about that, but that's some of the stuff.
So as we start to come to a close, can you kind of give or tell us um, some advice that you would give the people out there that's just trying to get into community action that might have a little apprehension,
Um,
or not necessarily apprehension, but may not know where to start or what to start on how or how to do it?
Well, I always say whatever you're gonna do, like to do it in excellence, like you must know yourself first. Like you gotta know what you like, what's passionate to you. Like start with your passion. And honestly, the best way to start is like sit down and form a vision and a mission statement. So like I always say, like when you pass away, which I mean is who wants to think about that? But when you pass away and you're in heaven or whatever you believe, you know, you're in heaven looking down, what type of world do you want to see? Right? Me, I want to see a world where Black people are experiencing humanity in a healthy and like a socially healthy, a physically healthy, a mentally, a spiritually healthy way. That is the world I want to see. Okay. Then your mission is, well, how am I going to help create that? Right. And so I think that I'm going to create that essentially by ameliorating the school to prison pipeline, ending the cycle of poverty for the Black community. Right. And through like programming, like financial literacy, criminal justice work, educational equity. So those are, if it don't fall into them three categories, I can't help you. The
Mm.
other important thing is health, but I'm gonna leave that to my other Xavier friends who are doctors. I don't know about that. I can't help you. And so but that's important too. Also figuring out what is your lane, right? And so once you got that mission, once you got that vision, because you know we gotta start with the vision, write it down and make it plain. Then you can do the mission, right? And then you can do the building steps. So once you know that, then you can say, okay, school to prison pipeline, who's doing that work? Where's the gap in that? Haha, I can fill in there, right?
Right.
That is how you figure out, like find out like what is a problem that's not being solved and how can you fill in, right? And then once you do that, go talk to somebody. There is like so much power in just picking up the phone and calling somebody. People don't do it no more.
Right.
Just call somebody. Right? So that's my advice. I know that was a lot of couple steps, but yeah, vision, mission, figure out a problem, call somebody. There you go.
There you go. There you go. As always, you can see us at leadersofcolor.net, and then all social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, no Snapchat yet, no TikTok yet. But at the end, I always like to leave our guest with the last word. I mean, she did just drop some jewels a second ago, but we'll have her drop some more, and I'll give her the last word.
I guess my last word is to like, if you are really looking for like a culturally responsible, like a culturally what's the word, comforting organization, I think LLC is definitely that, especially if you want to pursue legislative office or be an operative or even need more information as a civic leader. So if that's something that you are looking forward to and you wanted to do with people who look like you, because I'm gonna tell you a lot of these fellowships, I'm just gonna say. So if that's what you're looking for, I think that LLC Leaders of Color is definitely the place for you. And so yeah, and if y'all have any questions, I'm sure Terrell and then will have my information. Feel free to reach out. But yeah, so I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm excited to participate in LLC in whatever capacity after this that I can. So
Awesome. Thank you, Bianca.
no problem.